Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life number 130 for January the 8th, 2020. I haven't said 2019 now in 2 weeks. I'm good. Today, we've got a ton of news as we normally do, but we also have Mr. Casey Green joining us from Mid-Atlantic State area. How are you today, sir?
Pretty well. A little chilly. Probably not as cold as you guys are, but...
We got a dump in the snow last night, and we got some cold weather just one more day. And then it's going to warm up to I think they said it was going to be +9, which would be, that would be like 42, 43,
we're
somewhere in there.
70, and we had snow last night.
So it's all over the board here. We got people in Western U.S. and Canada. They're suffering with crazy wind chills. And, by Saturday, we're supposed to be above freezing for the whole day, and we're supposed to get rain. So who knows?
Not bad. Yeah, I usually mess up around March with the new year.
Yeah.
Right when you stop paying attention to it.
You're concentrating so hard for the first few weeks, and then after that, you just let your guard down. Oh man. Absolutely. Well, we got a ton of news as we normally do. Of course, I guess we can start with the first note was someone had gone into the code again, the website code this time, and pulled out some nuggets about the referral program. So we now know, of course, that the referral program is providing people basically free supercharger miles. When you sign somebody up, it's given both 1,500 kilometers or 1,000 miles to both the purchaser and the referral code person that has provided you with that code. So that's what it is today. But this article talks a little bit about what they found in it about being a Tesla credit and credit awarded, and something about redemptions and balance remaining.
Like the service credits that some of the folks got instead of prizes.
Definitely could be. And there's one other title that they found deep in the code, which was referral prize.
That sounds like a roadster.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be really nice.
But they've just basically grabbed this information from the source code of the website, and these new titles, of course, are not active at the time. They're kind of REM statement out, so that they're not being displayed or shown to the actual live site. But it will be something to keep our eye on and see if maybe the first quarter, if there's going to be a bit of a change, or if there's going to be something added to the current referral program or not. So we'll have to see as that goes along. But it was interesting to see that these, at least the remnants of these titles are now in the code, which was a change from what it was before.
Certainly. Hopefully they get around the Virginia bird dog laws.
Yeah. Virginia residents don't get to play in this at all, don't they?
Not at all.
Yeah. So I'm sure that you register your car in another state, so you at least can take advantage of this kind of stuff.
Right. I might move again.
Yeah. One more time.
Find a Tesla-friendly state and live there.
And you're so close to DC, which is technically another state, right?
Yeah,
so
it is.
All you need to do is cross the border and set up a PO mailing box.
Right.
Well, it's interesting, Casey, you moved from North Carolina, or was it South Carolina, up to where you are presently.
Yes.
Would that affect you because your now residence has changed? Or is it stay with the South Carolina registration that originally got the Tesla, and you would not have to give up that bonus?
I guess it would depend on where Tesla thinks the car is from, and whether or not I tell Virginia if I get any prizes.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll leave again.
I'm not staying forever. I'm just gonna,
It's expensive here, man. It snowed yesterday.
Would you ever get any snow in South Carolina?
Well, we were supposed to have a dusting 2 years ago, and we got 8 inches.
That's quite a dusting.
Yeah.
I think the weather station has their terms mixed up.
I think that they thought it was going to be warmer and that it would melt, and then it didn't.
Yeah. Fun. Well, Casey, you've got our next story about our favorite tunneling company.
Yes, there's no trash can in sight, but they have the hole in the ground. Elon says that the Boring Company tunnel will be done at the Las Vegas Center by the year's end, and it will connect all of their new facilities with their existing facilities. And the link you showed us last week is a live view of the tunnel, so you can click on it and you can see what's going on out there. So I'm clicking play, and it should look like sunset. Yes, it is sunset.
Look at that.
It's a hole in the ground. But they have a couple different routes that they may use, and I don't know how it's possible they have this done and they don't have a route chosen yet.
Yeah, that's kind of concerning, isn't it? As to whether or not they know what they're doing. But this is something that could be what? How could you not have the plan in place, and you have to have it done in less than a year?
Yes.
That
your machines don't move that fast.
That is absolutely true. It's something that you just, it boggles the mind. How could they not have that ready to go? I
Maybe
just
don't
get it.
2 of the 3, and they don't know which 2 are going to get it.
Right. But hold on, Patrick's joining us. Just coming in right now. Let me see if we can get this. Looks like this is the merge button.
There you go. That's what I didn't give me the option to merge.
There we go. Patrick's joining in right now. We're live on the air, Patrick. How are you? Oh, Patrick's got some audio issues just at the beginning here.
Well, I'm sure we can hear him, but he can't hear us.
But he can't hear us, definitely. Look up at the screen, Patrick. We're here.
Let's send him a little chat.
Anyways, they still say it's going to be done within a year, which is interesting. But it'll be, as we get a little closer, hopefully things get buttoned down and we get some additional information as to what the plan is. Because we are still at this point wondering what the actual vehicle is going to be. We don't know that. We don't know the number of people it's going to move. How fast. All that kind of stuff is really up in the air at this point.
I wonder if Tesla even knows what the vehicle is yet. But they have less than a year to get something that's safe.
Like they did take away that people mover idea. Like that's been stricken from the Boring Company's Instagram account. Every picture has been removed. There is no picture that the Boring Company still has of that iconic glass bubble car that had some seats in the middle of it. But
didn't look like it had ventilation or anything.
Well, I don't know.
No privacy. I mean,
I really don't know. I know that they used to sell the system on the fact that they would have something that would hold 16 people.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so if you change that to a Model X, you've got what, 5 people maybe that could sit comfortably?
If you do a Model X with benches, and not like the 3 across benches, but like say 2 benches on the sides, that would be maybe 10. And maybe another bench in the middle.
There's no way you would fit 10 people. Not a chance. Even if you rearrange the benches, There's no way you could fit 10 people in that car comfortably.
Put the 2 benches back to back, and then make both the doors into the Falcons, and then you can get 10 people. But you still need 6 more, and luggage.
Nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So, I can hardly wait to see what actually happens. But right now, we're all kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
As the tunnel is, even though it is sunset.
It'll be fun.
Patrick, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh.
Hi.
Audio's a little hot.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Glad to have you today, Patrick, joining us from the Northwest.
Hello. I have a couple things I want to show off that I think our viewers might appreciate. You have to see what I got from my mother-in-law.
The Merry Christmas Cybertruck.
I like Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then the other one is this little fun thing. It's not quite like having it embedded in your hand or forearm, but it is a Tesla RFID. And so with this ring that it's from TeslaTrip.com, Tesla Trips, Trip, whatever. It's search for the Tesla ring. You guys can find it. Yeah. So I can walk up to my wife's Model 3 and tap it and get in.
Excellent.
Seems a lot safer than RFID embedded in your body.
Yeah, probably. Just a bit lower, I guess, case of possible rejection from your body.
Yes. Sizing a ring is much easier than a surgical implant.
Yeah, or you say, oh, now that I've got it embedded in the wheel, the wound is healed up. Now it doesn't work.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that'd be horrible. I broke the antenna when I was playing volleyball.
Yeah, it's got to be removed and a new one put in. Oh, geez. Just makes me shudder just thinking about it.
But the beauty is you can use one card for multiple cars, and multiple cars can take multiple cards.
Yes, that is nice.
Yeah, I was thinking if you had one of those bit of an old school wash with those material bands, you could embed it in the material, no problem.
Yeah.
It could be like in your watch strap. So that would be another idea that would be that I would choose over embedding it in my body.
Yeah, a lot of watches have NFC now. So if Tesla made a little tweak to their system so that you could program, just like you can do it with our Bluetooth Low Energy with the phones. Yeah. So if you made it so that you could do it with a watch, that would be cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
I might like an antenna with a modem, but I don't know about something as simple as a phone, as a key. I'd like, if I'm going to embed some technology, it better do something.
Besides opening the door and make the car run. Yeah.
You want to be bionic?
Yeah. We can rebuild him.
It would cost way more than $6 million nowadays.
Oh, inflation.
Well, let's talk a little bit about quarter numbers. Of course, Tesla released what was going on at the end of the fourth quarter for 2019. And it was a spectacular end to the year where they had a record production of about 105,000 vehicles in the quarter. And they actually did a delivery of 112,000 vehicles. So they actually delivered more than they produced in the quarter. Obviously, there was a few left over from other quarters and moved those out. So they did the breakdown where in the quarter, S and X combined, there was 19,450 deliveries, and Model 3, 92,550. So and then that's the total of 112. So that was excellent. There was a huge push, as we had seen every quarter. At the end of the quarter, always a huge push. Tesla, I got news for you. The new quarter's just started. Why don't you start pushing now?
Yeah, exactly.
so you're not killing yourself in the last quarter or the last week of the quarter.
So I heard of like 4 stores at least that ran out of cars. So if it wasn't nailed down, they were selling it.
Right. Yeah. You walk in and there's nothing there to even sit in and play with. They sold the floor models and everything.
Yeah.
That explains how they could sell more than they made in a quarter.
Yeah, every floor model was sold. Yes.
I'd like a test drive. Oh, we sold the test drive car. Come
That
back in
that
3 months.
an hour ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're just too late.
I'm sure there's some owner here hanging out that'll let you drive his car around. Just go ask somebody.
Or even worse, they sold an owner's car that was at the showroom.
The guy gets done with work. He goes out to his
Anyone
car,
showed
and it's
up
gone.
at Fremont store and the car was gone. I was just here shopping. My car is gone. Sorry.
You parked too close to the ones that were for sale, and it was gone.
The new ones. Sorry. Oh man.
Made a key and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Do a big push at the end of this quarter. This was the end of the U.S. incentive. So of all the times to push really hard, this was certainly one of them.
Right,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of people that were, running up against that final federal credit, and Tesla was trying as hard as they could to push as many people and get them that extra credit as they could. Although some still didn't get it, there were some certainly that didn't. But we even saw with Elon and his mom showing up at the Fremont Delivery Center. They were kicking in, participating, helping deliver cars as well. So it was a huge push on New Year's Eve, right into the night, as they continued to push those cars out the door.
How cool would that be to have Elon Musk personally deliver your car to you? I hope it was at least to someone who knew who he was and not just somebody going, what are you, the janitor here? How come you don't know this stuff? I'm sure he knows this
stuttering?
Stuff. But
You seem real excited.
Why-
That's what he does when he gets excited.
Why are you doing that crazy looking dance?
Yeah, why are you taking off your clothes and dancing?
We'll comment on that a little bit later, but it was great numbers. Of course, Wall Street was quite happy with it, and of course the stock has done nothing but rise from that point forward. Today it almost broke close to 500. Still a little bit under 490 or so, but
it was up 23 points today. That's awesome.
What a rocket ride! Just unbelievable. Just keeps going. But again, everybody seemed happy with the numbers based on that. And of course, with that said, the end of the year, Tesla actually achieved the lower side of their guidance for the yearly deliveries. So they did 365,000 cars, where they said the guidance was somewhere between 360 and 400, I believe. Fantastic. They actually hit the lower guidance of the numbers just above it. And many people thought they would never get that in this year. But it's all there. It's all there in black and white now.
That's awesome.
Indeed.
Exactly.
They'll never make it into Mudfield.
Yeah, exactly. So now we'll move into the Mudfield story and what has happened a year later. Casey, take it away.
Let's take a look at the Mudfield. This one. I was on the wrong tab. So, the China Gigafactory. Elon attended the grand opening ceremony where they delivered owner cars. He did a little dance. He removed his jacket and danced to the music, and then he let some news loose, as he is wont to do, that there will be a new world market car designed in the China Gigafactory facilities, which is going to be incredible because they're a little more price sensitive there than in Southern California, and we might see something exciting.
Yeah, we might.
So what's with that? Like he talked about the Chinese being, I guess, some of the best art in the world is how he put it.
Oh, that's exactly what he said about the Germans.
That's a good.
Are you saying this is a canned
everybody
speech?
likes it?
It sounds like it.
I find it funny that he did his dance and he made that announcement. But if you look at the mainstream press, they're all talking about the dance.
Yeah.
But what's really more important, that there was some music and he walked out on stage and did a dad dance, or that they're actually going to design a new car. They're going to build a new design center in China and then design a car there for the world market.
Yeah.
And he said it's going to be something radical along the lines of Cybertruck. So not trying to just do a slightly smaller sedan, but something radical and different. So that seems like far bigger news than he started out on stage, which I would be too if the stock just jumped like that. You have this big opening, you've showed all the naysayers wrong. It's a great moment for him. He should be happy and strutting about.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, there's the dance. I don't think they're gonna build. I don't think they're gonna build this thing in China for the world. So you can still get your local Gigafactory is gonna build this cheaper car for you.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting that and he said he is going to do it. Like he said, he started off with "we'd like to," and then he corrected himself and said "we will do."
Yeah, and the idea that you have a local Gigafactory is another unique concept.
Absolutely,
there's one on the continent near you.
Yeah, so he is wanting to design it and build it for world consumption at the China Design Center that is about to be, I guess, put in place. It's not there yet. Yeah. But that's exciting stuff, especially if like as Casey said, it's a price sensitive market. Could there be the possibility of this could be the Model C that he kind of alluded to some time ago about having a compact car that would be, more around the $25,000 mark? That would be huge news. Being able to push a little further the electric vehicles into markets that traditionally are out of reach because of pricing. That would be definitely something that would push Tesla into that market, is having that price point a little bit lower.
So if Roadster is Blue Star, or not Blue, if Model 3 is Blue Star, what is Model C for code name?
So it was Dark Star, White Star, Blue Star. Mm-hmm. What's after that in that procession? I don't know.
Is it Red Star?
Fabergé Egg didn't have a code name. Red Dragon was a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neato?
Could be anything.
What was the code name for the Cybertruck?
It didn't have one that we know of.
Right.
Not a public. Hasn't been released.
Yeah.
It's still under code.
I hope they do end up releasing all that. I mean, because like for the Raven motor, the motor had a code name. So I mean, it would be awesome to get them for history's sake.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Definitely.
But that would be what this article from Teslarati was talking a little bit about, was how Gigafactory 3, a mud pit a year ago, is now producing cars. They've now given them out to the public, and now it's starting to roll with regular production. I think the number, actually, it's bounced around a little bit, but it was quoted at one point as 1,000 cars a week on a 6-day week. And then someone else quoted it at 1,500 cars in a week. So they believe that once they get up to another shift and they're working 7 days on a shift, then they could be pushing into 3,000 a week. So, but right now, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 is what's being quoted, which is still remarkable. We knew it would be a faster ramp up. From what happened at Fremont, because of course they've already lived through it once with the exact car that they're making. So thank goodness they were able to learn some of those lessons, and that has transferred over to China to allow them to produce faster, which is great.
Work harder.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how fast they can get up to 5,000 cars a week. And then I've heard that the plan for this one is to be at 10,000 per week, where Fremont's only at 7,000. So this one could actually be producing more cars than Fremont.
That would be remarkable, because it's smaller than Fremont too. Obviously, it's a smaller factory because it's only got the X and Y line. But the physical size, I'm sorry, you're right, the 3 and the Y.
Right.
But physically, the plant itself is smaller in China than Fremont, correct?
I don't know. Especially since like at Fremont they don't make batteries. They depend on the Reno Sparks site for that.
Yeah.
So where they are going to be doing their own batteries there in China. So
Yeah, but
it's a good question.
Fremont upstairs does assemble packs.
That's true.
Yeah, but they're for S and X, so it's not like it helps the Model 3 out at all.
Right.
Yeah, so the S and the X not being there certainly gives them quite a bit of extra space.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing about this was a quick mention about, of course, I guess, start of project of Model Y at Giga 3.
Yes.
So Elon and the plant manager, I believe, popped some champagne and poured it over a Y mock-up of just the letter Y.
Yeah, a giant letter Y.
And
they put it in
I
each
guess,
end of the
yeah.
of the Y.
And I guess that was to symbolize the start of the program. So no real timelines, no real elaboration on what else is going to happen, how fast, what's the number, when they expect the first, none of that. Just the start of the program. So
yeah, I was hoping for a few more details, but oh well.
Based on what we saw with SpaceX, with the dueling construction, I would say that it's probably going to be really close behind the official launch of the model here in the States, that they start building it over there.
Okay. Yeah. And
it makes sense. You pick one and you work out the kinks, and then you copy exact to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's still open on this end. Is we don't know when the Model Y is going to actually start here. Haven't heard any other information besides speculation of it being early.
Right.
That's it. There's been
Tesla officially pulled it in from the fall to the summer.
Right.
But that's as much info as we have, and a lot of people are really hoping that summer means spring.
Yeah. Well, sure, even if summer means the beginning of summer, then they'll have done better than they have ever done with a vehicle launch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that includes the Model 3, not because the Model 3 was slow. It's faster than the original timeline, but it was slower than the revised timeline for Model 3.
Right.
And that's what continues to bite them publicly.
Yeah, and their production ramp was a lot slower than they had announced as well. And since the Y is going to be reusing so many parts from the 3, hopefully that means that they can ramp it a lot faster.
For sure, especially if they go to that new wiring harness.
And the wiring harness, I've done some reading on that, and they say they will use it initially.
Good.
So the thought was to use that new wiring harness in the Y right off the start.
I wonder if the Chinese Model 3s already have it. They said they're cheaper out of the gate. And it can't just be labor cost.
Well, a good amount of it could be labor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it can't be solely labor. That's a significant price reduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tesla does tend to roll out improvements whenever they can without waiting for a model year, so it would make sense that they are doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. Hopefully we'll get some word on that.
Maybe somebody will wreck one and tear it apart, and we'll see.
Yes, indeed.
They got to get one to Rich rebuilds.
Yeah.
Send him to China for a month.
I'm not volunteering my 3. So.
Well, yours is going to have the miles of cable.
Right. Yours isn't from China.
That's true. Yeah. There's no surprise there. Yeah. Next, it's an update. An update about our favorite police department in southern Indiana.
Bargersville police chief. He gave an interview to the Indy Star about the success of their Model 3 program. This is the police department that didn't go with the Model 3 performance. They're the ones who went with the SR Plus and mid-range.
Yep, SR Plus. Yep.
And they've been having great public outreach. Like as they're giving traffic citations, they'll have people hanging out the window taking pictures and beeping the horn and waving at them. And
so it's helping them increase tickets.
Yes.
Because now they can give out an unsafe driving or a stunt driving as people are taking pictures, driving by, taking pictures.
Certainly. And their territory went from about 4 square miles to about 12. And now that it's in service, they have proven that they'll be able to use the fuel savings on this car to not just buy new cars to replace the other Chrysler products, but also to add on to the force, so they have more officers available to patrol that new area that they are responsible for. And
Yeah,
that's exciting.
yeah. So the one thing the police chief, I believe Todd's his first name, had indicated that he was a little bit off on the calculation for winter driving.
Yeah, but we all always are.
Yeah, it's that he didn't figure in the fact as to how much cabin heating they would be using. And so he was saying that they probably lopped off an extra 25 or 30 miles based on his calculation. But still, again, charging the car up at the beginning, before the beginning of the shift, and then charging it up at the end of the shift, you've got enough to do what they are doing with those patrol cars.
Yep, and he's got in the picture the temperature set to 70. So if you're willing to keep your coat on and go to 67 or 68, it might get you a couple more miles. Speaking from experience.
Right.
Yeah, but just put it where you want it, be comfortable, and charge up when you need to. There's no reason to say, if you have an EV, you have to turn the temperature down. That's just setting the wrong message, I think.
No, you only have to do that if you want to stick to those numbers.
If you want a hypermile or whatever,
yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? I took the liberty of looking as to where that town was in relation to Indianapolis and the superchargers that are around.
Yeah.
They haven't got much of a drive to go up and grab a quick, 20 minutes at a supercharger.
If they had to, yeah.
If they had to, in the middle of the day, they could, take 20 minutes and top up at the supercharger, and you'd be all set. And of course, maybe petitioning Tesla to put their next supercharger in your town would be an ideal situation if you're purchasing patrol cars. Maybe that would help them make that decision a lot easier.
Yeah, or buy a slightly used unit for private use. Cap it to 60 kilowatts.
There you go.
So I did the math, and if you assume that the SR Plus can only do 220 miles, which I do believe it does a good bit more than that, then you can do their whole territory 18.33 repeating times.
Wow.
Per charge.
And again, he did mention about the savings of being able to put in more officers on the road based on what was coming back from not spending it on fuel. And another thing that he talked about a little bit was, of course, all the electronic equipment that these patrol cars use. There's an actual picture in the article with the radio, the additional computer that they use in the car for police work, how it's set up in the car. But of course, a lot of times in the regular cars, they're burning fuel as it just sits there, powering all the equipment, making the alternator spin, keeping that 12-volt battery charged up because the extra drain that's on the system. And of course, that's just not happening here. And it's a benefit to everybody. You haven't got a car idling in front of your house or your business, and the car's really not burning much energy at all to just sit there.
So was it the Canadian Model X police car or the Performance Model 3 car in the U.S. that was supposed to be working with Tesla to integrate some of this equipment into the center screen?
That was the Performance Model 3 in the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there's some synergy available there.
There was a Canadian OPP. The Ontario Provincial Police had a Model X, but it was only for display. It was actually owned by somebody else that loaned it to the OPP to test out a little bit, and then they deckled it up and brought it to a car show where it sat for a week. So really, that's not an OPP cruiser. It was just demonstration, and it was something that the OPP haven't considered Tesla as a substitute to their current fleet at this point.
That's significantly less exciting.
Right, but the police department really should be looking at the Cybertruck.
They should.
Cybertruck.
That's interesting. Yes.
It's bulletproof. Come on.
Transition to web apps.
What else do you want? Yeah, really.
Yeah, if they could transition to web apps, then they could do a lot of their stuff from the built-in screen as it is, assuming that they keep their site in line with what the browser can do.
That's an interesting point.
And
Yep.
now that's video, so it does a lot more than it used to do.
Yeah, because you can still have secure login and all that information. That's a great idea.
And now you've got the voice to text.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
That's really clever, yeah.
Chased the suspect down, pinned him to the ground, tasered him, took him to jail. Period. New line.
Our next story is about hiding in plain sight. So what we've got here, we'll just share the screen.
Oh, yes.
I don't think you should use the phrase plain sight on this podcast. If you guys know that Twitter account, they are not friends of Tesla.
I do not know that Twitter account, so I'm just I thought it was
they scour any lemon law or other court cases, and then they put the worst possible spin they can come up with and tweet about how horrible Tesla is.
Oh, okay.
Just my opinion about
learned something new
my
today.
Interpretation of what they do. Yeah.
We've got some different Teslas on the road that are hiding their badges. They're trying to be something else, and we'll speculate a little further on. I just wanted to show a couple of photos. This Model 3 is dressed up like a Honda Civic. It even in a other photo.
Is that an SI badge?
I'm sorry?
Is that an SI badge? Red on the bottom right? Can you zoom in?
Yes, it is.
SI. What is that?
And even on the side,
model.
it had the decals showing it was a Civic.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Here's another one that surprisingly looks pretty accurate.
Yeah.
This, of course, is the Buick LaCrosse Model S. And what's interesting is that this is a pretty good representation because if you're not familiar with the Buick LaCrosse, it does have that silver bar across the back of the trunk.
Yeah.
So it kind of depicts that it is that.
And
but
Model S is a large sedan, just like they used to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the looks certainly are different, but and of course it says Tesla right on this, right under the Buick badge. But a lot of people aren't paying enough attention to it, and that brings up, why are people hiding in plain sight like this? Like, what are they accomplishing? This gentleman was his plate is from Wisconsin. The Civic was California.
Well, maybe the Civic is trying. Maybe he lives in that zone where they smash your windows and try to steal stuff, and the one from Wisconsin is trying to not be perceived as rich by his peers.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that like the cars but don't want to be hassled by the image that comes with it, or the
perceived image that comes with it.
I mean, because if the car costs the same as a Camry on the low end on the Model 3, so. But the image is that, oh, you have a Tesla, it's $100,000 for your SR minus.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if is it that, or is it the fear of people damaging Teslas? Is that a real thing?
I think that's only a real thing in some zip
areas.
codes. Yeah, and some zip codes in California, perhaps. But other than the what we're seeing in the dash cams, I think that happens to just any nice new looking car, and it's just that none of the others are recording, so people have to take their lumps and fix it on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we've talked about this previously as well. Are we seeing all this stuff because now there are more dash cams that are just integrated into vehicles, and this was already happening before it was being recorded?
Yeah. I mean, when you talk to your coworkers, they don't drive Tesla, and then they get their nice new car, they parked all the way out the end, taking up one spot instead of three, and all of a sudden they get this weird door ding. Nobody was near them. They just don't have any proof of who did it, like we do.
Right. So with every Tesla having Sentry mode and the camera's recording all the time, a lot more info gets put out there. Every time somebody gets coal rolled or cut off or keyed, or things that happen to every model of car from every manufacturer. But there's this, because all that is captured and shared, it seems like more of that happens to Teslas. And I'm sure they get their fair share and probably not a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But there's a perception that happens more.
Yeah, just like the Russian dash cams, it may look like they have the craziest drivers, but I've seen some stuff, and it might just be because we have the cameras, and in their case, they were the first to have widespread dash cams because you had the insurance incentive to do so.
Yeah. But
Plus, they do have crazy drivers over there too.
I have to admit that I've never seen as many dash cam things going on than until I got involved with the Tesla community and owned a car.
Yeah.
I've never had a dash cam in my previous cars.
Right.
This is the first car that I've ever had that had such a thing. But yeah, I think it's probably a combination. But unfortunately, I believe that all this stuff has been always happening, and we just haven't been recording it because the recording devices weren't there.
Yeah,
right.
I had one in my second Volt, and we did see a lot from the hypercar community, or I guess performance car, because hypercars tend to get squirreled away. But where you would see the crazy drivers, you would see the owners that couldn't handle the power, and it was just there because they had the tape, and you didn't see that from the less expensive vehicles. And then as the price of the cameras has gone from $500 a set down to $40, you see a lot more of it now.
Yeah.
Our own Dr. Evan Fusco has shared some pretty funny videos of some stuff that's happened to him. And he put up this compilation, and I was like, wow, all that's happened in the years you've had your car? It's like, oh, no, that was last month.
Yes.
What? Wow.
I've got about 30 gigs that I got to sort through and figure out what I want to actually put on mine so everybody can see it. It's incredible.
You're getting the best of tape ready for us right now, aren't you, Casey?
Yeah. At the end of one of my videos last week or the week before, I was coming home and this truck caught fire in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, that would be good to put in the video."
Wow!
And public service announcement: remember, if you see something happening now, all you need to do is press the horn.
Yeah,
and it saves the clip. So you don't even have to remember to press the button; just press the horn. Next story is a Model 3 with some enhancements. They say it's enhancement.
Allegedly.
What do you say about that, Casey?
I say I traded my car, the Volt, for a battery electric for a reason.
So let's set some context here about what we're talking about.
So there's a company that took a Model 3 standard range, and they removed most of the batteries to the point where it is a 17.3 kilowatt hour pack. And then in the frunk, they installed a 2-cylinder gasoline engine and hooked it into the powertrain. And if you're doing faster than 40 miles an hour, that little sucker is running. And I had a coworker read the article, and he came away with the impression that it not only does it never need to be plugged in, he came away with the impression that you can't plug it in. And so I went back to the original German article, and I can't determine either way. So I'm going to go with his interpretation because it sounds even more weird than installing.
Even worse.
Yeah. Than installing an engine into a Tesla.
So they took a Tesla SR Plus that had, what would that have a kilowatt size approximately?
I don't know, but it's
what's the guess?
Mid 200
50-ish.
50-ish? Okay, and they cut it down. They took over half of it away.
Yeah.
Then they put a 2-cylinder motor or range extender in the frunk.
Yes. When I first read the first English article, I had assumed that when they said trunk, that they stuck like a motorcycle engine in the trunk, but no, it was a frunk. Because I was wondering how they were handling the fumes and the noise. Because there's this, in the backlight, or under the backlight on the partial shelf for the Model 3, there's a huge vent, and all the noise will pass through.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And then any leakage in the odors would also pass through. So the frunk makes a lot more sense. But I can't imagine that this is safe in a collision, because the frunk wasn't really meant to house a combustion engine.
Very good point. That was a big crumple zone, and now you've got a bunch of metal in there, and it's no longer able to crumple.
Correct.
Right.
And it takes up almost the whole frunk, and they kept the liner. I was surprised to see that. It doesn't look like it's something that's meant to come in and come out like on a long trip or anything, because one, they took away more than half your battery, and two, like, why not just take the frunk liner out and just make it like a regular car, or make a new frunk liner that still has space for like a filing, like a couple file folders. But what you're going to see, I bet, if anybody actually buys this thing, they're going to put the sandwich on top and cook their paninis on their way to.
So my understanding is this was not something that they're going to be selling. This was a prototype for a hybrid extended range that they want to sell this car design. I think it was in the Australian market.
Yeah,
And
they have a base version and a high performance version. And it looks like on the base version, they're targeting the Infiniti Q Series, some generic econo car, and Mercedes station wagon as some of the examples they gave. And if you go over to the high performance version, you can see that they are targeting a nose cone Model S, a BMW crossover, and the G Wagon.
I don't understand why they would take out so much of the battery. I can understand if you live in an area where you don't have good infrastructure and you want to be able to use gasoline as an extension. Okay, fine. Drive 200 miles on electric and then use gas after that. And just like the Chevy Volt that we had here, there was a period of time where that would be a great plug-in vehicle for some people in some regions with certain requirements. I don't want to bash on plug-ins and say plug-in hybrids are horrible. You should go battery electric or you're a loser. No, I'm not trying to do any of that. But I just don't understand why they would reduce the range, take out the charging capability. There seems to be a lot of things here that I just don't understand.
And that was one of the things that we talked about before the show. Mark and I both own Volts, and he still has his. I finally got rid of mine. They have their use case, and their whole selling point is you have the option of picking your fuel. And so if they take away the charging capability, now not only have you lost the ability to choose your fuel, you don't start every day at full.
Right.
Yeah. I think the reduction of the batteries, Patrick, was just to show that most people don't need the full size of the battery. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the manufacture of a car, not just this demonstration model, but in the manufacture of the car, with that less amount of battery, that pays for the range extender and more.
So look at the Prius Prime versus any of the other plugins. There's a substantial price difference in the cost to make it
I see.
function.
So if you want a prototype that you could show with this amount of battery capacity, what you were capable of, then it makes sense.
Right, and they almost took the playbook right from Chevy when they talked about the average person drives 35 miles a day or the 85% of the population drives 35 miles a day or less.
And how they use the sweet spot of the battery. Right. We charge it constantly slowly so it doesn't use too many charge cycles, blah, 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 easy on the system.
But even, you take a look at what Chevy has already said is that they mothballed the Volt. They said, we're done with it. We're going fully electric.
Except for in China.
Which is too bad. I think there was room in their lineup for them to keep the Volt for a few more years.
There definitely was.
There was, but when she explained it, I finally understood it because, like, as a Volt owner, I was a little insulted that they did that. But when you hear her explain it, other than the fact that they sell big trucks, it makes sense that the autonomous vehicles, you want them to be electric. And if they're going to really put their money where their mouth is, you don't want the complexity of two different powertrains plus the having to synchronize them.
Right, so but to Patrick's point, they already had developed it.
This is true.
It was already being sold. It already had a loyal following. Yeah. Why on earth would you not keep it around for a couple more years? They even iterated it like 4 times. So why not just keep it as it was, or those micro modifications they made along the way? That would be fine as well. But
technically, they did. In China, you can buy the Buick Valette, which is just a Volt.
Yeah, I know, but I don't live in China.
Yeah, exactly.
The people I know don't live in China.
If they had stopped that and then put all that R&D into the Bolt, but how different is the Bolt now from when it first came out? Not a lot.
No, it's had small iterations as well, but not a lot.
Even smaller than the Volt iterations were.
Yeah, the Volt every year it had something different. Like, wow,
this
is cool.
The speculation is, of course, and we're getting off topic, but the speculation is that they have a new drivetrain that is going to be released, and a lot of people are putting their sights on the 2020 Detroit Auto Show, which is this summer. to debut some of that. But
And
it's
that makes
speculation.
sense because then they don't have to pay LG except for modules.
Well,
right now LG
they've
builds.
invested with LG for the new plant in Lordstown, Ohio. They spent going to spend 2.3 billion on a new battery plant
For batteries, yeah, but now they can get LG out of the rest of the car because they are experts in the integration of other people's components.
They could, yeah.
We'll see what they do, but I'm curious now to see after what she said and after what we see with them not really pushing the envelope with this car.
I would rather see action than promises.
Yeah,
yep.
Or endless press releases like
absolutely.
Manufacturer.
Next story, a little bit local to me. I, of course, based in Southern Ontario here, was offered by Tesla the all-weather protection kit as a free upgrade. And here it is.
Oh, you didn't install it?
It's a mud flap. If you want to know what the all protection the all protection kit is, it's basically a two-piece mud flap that you slide it in place, and it brings you, of course, the ability to put this on the front of the car to protect the metal siding behind the front wheel. They don't offer it for the rear of the car because, of course, the bumper's plastic and no corrosion could take place if paint was chipped or damaged. So this is basically just to protect the sides and rocker panel of the car. And it comes with an instruction manual. You've got your handy dandy bucket of bolts here to put it on, and your manual of how to install it. So it looks pretty simple. They say that you can take them on and off if you want to change them for summer. Take them off. I'm going to try it out and see how it goes, and hopefully I can make a little video about how I'm going to try it on the weekend. See how it goes.
So if you take them off, does that expose you to more chance for corrosion?
Well, what they're saying is that in places that use salt and sand on the roads for winter, that you're getting more punishment on those metal surfaces. And of course, some people are saying that it is stripping off the paint in those areas. Yeah. It hasn't happened in my car, but I also got the plastic protection put on my bottom rocker. So I had planned for that already and had it protected before I started to drive in the winter. But certainly this is going to be a lot better of a solution because it'll protect against the big stuff regardless. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, you need to. It'd be cool if you took your efficiency, like did a certain lap and see how many kilowatt hours it takes you, and then install those and then do the same track and see the difference. See if it makes any difference at all.
I'd be shocked if it made any difference.
I suspect that's why there's no rear, not just because it didn't affect the rear, but also
also keep in mind, if we're using this in the winter season,
you've
got all the other variables where you get slush and snow building up in my wheel wells. Yeah. Like there's no way you can measure it. I guess
reliably. Apples to apples would be hard.
Yeah, it'd be very tough.
And then, but I would say the reason you don't see this on the Model S and Model X is because they're already rubber down there.
Yeah. Our next story I'm going to skip over because we really dealt with it already, and we'll move on to the last story of the day,
this one's exciting.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Daimler and BMW, which happen to own a ride-hailing service that they've purchased called Free Now.
Yeah.
And this is an over the app, order the car to come pick you up. It's basically an Uber type service.
Yeah.
And Daimler and BMW, owners of this company, decided that they wanted to add more electric cars to their fleet. So did they reach out and pick up maybe an EQ? What is it? EQE or EQ?
EQ4,
EQC, EQC. Yeah. Their new electric SUV. No, instead they ordered 60 Teslas. So this electric story talks a little bit about the optics of ordering the competition cars to run inside your service. We posted this, of course, on our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life, and many people chimed in with, what are they doing? Don't they know that buying the competitors' cars to put in your service really flies in the face of what you're trying to do to sell your own cars?
For sure.
And of course, the EQC has been light on sales anyways. Over the last 2 months, I believe 55 of them have been sold in Germany, and that's it. So it's been a very light sale of that car, and it's like, man, it's an interesting move that they've made to buy the competition's car and put them into their service. What do you guys think?
I liked the quote where they said that they did look at trying to buy Mercedes and BMW products, but none of them met the system requirements. And so they went with what was on the market, which was the 60 Teslas for the app formerly known as my taxi.
It's interesting. Does the right hand know what the left hand is doing? Like when they go and do a case study of what they require, and then they come back with, well, we don't sell those type of cars. Like, does that information go up the chain to let people know that, hey, this Hopefully. May be the reason things aren't going well for us in electric car sales?
Right.
I imagine the what was that movie where they always replace the text where Hitler is like berating his officers?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I picture that right here. They did what? With my money? 60 Teslas? Everybody get out.
Yep. So if it's not meeting these needs, there's a good clue that it's not meeting customer needs. And I mean, we talked about this often, that these guys are making half-hearted efforts at best. They're really not doing what they need to do. And this is hopefully the wake-up call that lets them realize, oh, look, if you want a good EV that can meet all these needs for both our fleet and for normal buyers, you've got to step it up.
At least these two manufacturers, because then we'll have, because like Elon keeps saying, the more options there are, a rising tide is going to lift all the boats. And so if there's only one boat, it doesn't do any good. But if there's selection and they all get better, then that helps to kill the fossils. And then once the fossils are gone, then they can compete head on head.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, with that, let's wrap the show up. It's been a good show. Patrick, any shout-outs for the end of the show here?
Sure. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I just took a little road trip. We went skiing up to Mount Hood Meadows, took the Model X up there. And it was a great trip. It did fine. Coming back down the mountain, regenning as we go. I had the heat cranked up, Casey. I wasn't trying to hypermile it. And with the Supercharger network, that was no problem. We stopped for 15 minutes on the way back and got a little extra juice. And I just got the Tesla ski rack. So it actually attaches to the bike rack. So you put the bike rack on X. And then for the X, yep. Mm-hmm. And so if you'll do a little video editing for me, Mark, maybe I'll shoot it and send you the raw footage and how to install the tow hitch, the bike rack, and the ski rack. We can split it up into a series.
Excellent. Let's do that.
Cool. The tow hitch is there's some videos out there on the tow hitch, and they almost all exclude the key step of you have to pull the knob out. Don't just turn the knob.
It's surprisingly complicated.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll have to cover that in a video. Absolutely. All right. Casey, any shout-outs for this evening?
Yeah, so last week we did my channel's 1-year official anniversary, and I want to thank everybody who's subscribed. We're at 413 subscribers now, well on our way to surpassing 1,000. I want to hit 2,000 this year, and the watch minutes are just incredible, and I want to thank everybody for taking the time to see it. And so that's over at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEY GREEN, and we did recently the Model 3 Chatamo adapter. I've been promising that for about a year now, and so finally found one, and the software exists, and showed you how to do it. It works like a treat.
Cool.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, everyone, if you're still watching at this point, you haven't already, please press that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring the bell if you want to be notified when these shows go live. And we will see you at the premiere of this show, which will be happening shortly, probably about 8:30 this evening. And we'll be online as well to say hello through the chat feature. So, and send us a show title. Love to hear what those are, incorporate them into the show as well. So thanks very much, everyone. Have yourself a good week, and we will see you next time and find out what's going on in the Tesla life. Look at that. That didn't work at all. That did not work at all.
Frunk.
There we go. There's the music.
Thanks, Lee Moon, for the music.
Thank you, Lee. Absolutely. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great week.